What is up? Okay, so let's get right into the content. I do not want to waste your time. What if your ex never reaches out during no contact? Okay, this is something that I often hear when I'm talking to coaching students, clients, whatever. They're usually pretty fearful, right? Let me erase this real quick. Should have been a little bit more prepped. But I made some notes. So look, everyone is in a fearful state. Okay. And if you guys really want this chart, by the way, it is actually in a book called Letting Go by David Hawkins. I usually have it around here somewhere. I'm actually probably going to keep my stack of books to my left so I can show you guys. Speaking of books, you guys can pick up my books. They're really short, simple, sweet. As you can see, they're both really thin. But this one's called Chasing Excellence. It talks about fear, blah, 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 etc. And this is all about breaking up and how to handle breakups. Very simple. They're not profound in any kind of extreme way. Okay. So a lot of people are dealing with a lot of fear. Okay. So when people are in a fearful state, they usually think really strange things. Okay. So they'll think like, what if I run into my ex at the mall? And what if I do this? Or what if I run into my ex at the grocery store and I see them with their new partner? Or what if I see them doing this or that? Guys, it's extremely, extremely rare, unless you're following your ex around, which I've actually had clients do before against my advice, right? And sure, right? Because they're going to live their life. They're going to see what's out there. Sometimes it does happen. So strange things are going to go through your mind because of your emotional state, right? You're in a very fearful state. You might be angry. You might be feeling a lot of shame or guilt or apathy because of the way that you let, and this is what people think in their minds, the way that they let the relationship fall apart. A lot of guys have a lot of blame. They start blaming themselves for making mistakes in the relationship because a lot of mistakes could have been prevented. For example, complacency is one of the biggest issues that comes from a breakup, from a relationship falling apart. A lot of men get complacent and they don't actually stay on top of the things that they need to be doing, right? So they start going up and up and up, and they have ideas in their head about trying to go up, but they never execute, or so they end up staying very stagnant, right? So instead of going in this direction, a lot of guys end up, getting to about here, and then they sort of taper off. And the woman sees this potential. She does see this. She sees this in you, but you don't do anything more than this. And she's like, what the fuck? What happened? Right? So that's why a lot of men, especially in their 20s, because I've seen a vast difference between a guy in his 20s and a guy in his 30s that will take my advice and really apply it because they get beat up here, right? They get dumped constantly. Women won't stay with them long term, et cetera, et cetera. So the guys that are a little older usually take heed to my advice more often. But anyway, strange things will go through your mind, and you have to understand and have a protocol, right, for when you go through these emotional states. So what I will say to you is, and this is very simple, when you have an emotional state, you have to have a protocol. I know I just said that, but I'm just going to write it. And you need to stick to this protocol because this is where people will reach out too much, right? So say, for example, you're getting really amped up and anxious because you really want to reach out to her, right? And ladies, to him, for any ladies that might be watching. So you end up getting in, you almost psych yourself out because you're like, oh my God, if I reach out to them, this will happen. And then it creates this spiral of thoughts, and thoughts and emotions are actually tied together like this, right? Let's say this is thoughts and this is emotions, okay? They tie into each other, okay? So literally a thought can create an emotion, and from that emotion, a thought will happen, and it just kind of spirals out of control, okay? So you need a protocol. So the protocol is when you feel almost like you need to, right? It's energy is very hard to, what's the word I'm looking for? It's hard to sit and go, okay, I'm going to just think my way out of this, right? You almost need to move your body. So what I would say is at least minimum, go for a walk Okay. A walk with some sort of podcast, or maybe you have YouTube on your phone or whatever. So walk because you're moving, or of course you can go to the gym, right? And do like some more intense exercises, because what you're doing is you're getting out of your head and into your body. And when you get out of your head and into your body has, especially when you're really panting, like you're really out of breath, you can't be thinking very hard. You're like, oh my God, I'm so tired. And that's why intense exercise is often better than a walk and a podcast, to be quite honest with you. But a lot of you guys don't want to get into that intense workout or whatever, and that's completely fine. So walking and a podcast, walk on the beach, walk in nature, get outside. Don't sit inside your house. That's the worst thing you can do, because it just causes you to think about the routines and stuff you had. So get outside and get into something new. And doing this on a daily basis is actually going to create a new identity. Okay. And I'll make that for another video. So walk, podcast, gym, like intense exercise. Okay. That's what you guys need to do. One of those two things. Now, when you get home, that energy should be lower and subsided, but you guys obviously need to work on the right things. So I actually obviously have the 6 pillar talk, and I talk about this in every video. None of you guys are probably sick of it if you're fans of mine, but you need to be working towards this gradual incline. Where did I put it? Here again. Okay. So as individuals, we have goals, dreams, aspirations, things that we want to do, right? And we need to start getting back on this incline. So this incline, as a general rule, is all of these pillars, and you're increasing your value as a man. Okay. Ladies, you too. Okay. So it's just what men are attracted to are different than what women are attracted to, right? So look, 6 pillars: health, wealth, skills, mindset, social circle, and relationships. Now, your relationships are going to have a direct reflection of how all these other pillars are doing and working. You need to work on these 6 pillars. And in order to do that, here's another shameless plug I have. I have the Better Man Project Mentorship Program. It is a year-long program, and we work on these things intensely. There's a low ticket and a high ticket version of it, and the intensity is the difference, because you're going to get results a whole lot faster when you understand how this all works and focus and stuff like that. Okay. So if you guys want, you guys can join the free Discord and ask me more questions about it in the DMs. You can send me a DM. The free Discord also has a free a free breakup group, and you guys can talk amongst each other and ask questions and get help that way. So there's a free Discord. You guys can join it. It's all in the description box down below. So going back here, the next thing you need to do is trust the process of no contact. And the reason why is, when you and someone break up, the only way that you're going to get them back is to create distance yourself. See, they're already creating distance, right? Because they are creating distance in their mind, from their perception, they're expecting you to reach out to them and chase them. Almost. They get cocky about it. Dumpers confidence is what the word, or dumpers get cocky, because they know that your interest in them is higher than theirs in you. Okay. So you have to pull away yourself. They're expecting a text. They're expecting a DM. They're expecting a call, whatever. Okay. And when their expectation is not met that way, it's going to throw a wrench into their expectation. And whenever an expectation isn't met, they're going to go, right? Makes people think it's a pattern interrupt. And because in their mind, they're going, okay, this person's going to do this, right? So silence is the best medicine for now. Okay. Now, when this person comes around, obviously you need to know what to do, which is of course why I have long-term coaching available. Look, there are so many people, right, who have gone through this whole no contact thing, and there's always a window, small window. Okay. It could be anything from 2 days to 2 months. Okay. Something like that and beyond. So there's usually a small window where they'll come around and they'll say, hey, I've been thinking about you or whatever. And this is where most guys screw up. Okay. Because what they're doing is they say things like, let's pick up where we left off. Okay. I can't wait to see you. And they pounce on the opportunity instead of going back to where things started fundamentally and raising attraction slowly. Okay. So silence is the best medicine. You have to think of supply and demand. A relationship is really a value exchange, because a value exchange, when a woman looks up to a man and he's a very high value man, she is almost, fellas, you've seen this in your woman where she's so attracted to you. She's reaching out to you all the time. She wants to be around you all the time. She wants to be in your masculine energy. Okay. And masculine energy is that bold, direct, get shit done. And both of us have both energies in them, but men usually have a dominant energy of masculinity. Now, is that happening today in 2023? I don't think so. But generally speaking, that's why they're attracted to us. They like that masculine energy. They like that essence. And it doesn't mean that you have to be a fucking macho man. It just means, you are radiating that energy. So that's where the value exchange comes from, because why are we, us men, attracted to women? We want that feminine energy around us. Okay? We just want it. It's nurturing, it's kind, it's caring, it's loving. It's hard to say unless you see it, and again, you guys know what it is, okay? That's why we're attracted to each other. It's that polarity. The polarity is what we need. And of course there are a lot of, let's just say, entities out there that want to make you believe that we're all the same, and we're not. And it's okay that we're not. So supply and demand. And it's just understanding that we have a value exchange, and that value exchange comes from what we want from each other. So set the right boundaries, because when you set the right boundaries, they will understand. And again, it comes in with that pattern interrupt, because a lot of men especially are willing to break their own code and their own ethics and their own boundaries they have for themselves, and the self-care and self-love that they have for themselves, in order to get a woman to love him again, right? So a man knows I shouldn't reach out to her because it's a going against, like, it's not a valuable thing to do for myself, and men will just go fuck it because they're like, I want her around so bad, right? They're not willing to deal with the loss. So keep your boundaries in place. A lot of guys, here's another example, will accept friendship from a woman even though that's not at all what they want. So when you keep the right boundaries, and this sounds super corny, but this is literally loving yourself. When you love yourself, other people can love you the way that you want to be loved. It's true. And the more that you work on yourself, right? Where's that long pillar here? Okay. Self-improvement, right? The more that you love yourself, because you're going to challenge yourself, you're going to put things into your life that challenge you. You're going to put things into your life that really bring excitement to your life, and then you overcome them. And when you overcome them, you're like, man, I'm so proud of myself for doing that. That's not taught in our society anymore, to be proud of yourself, to love yourself. If it is, I see it taught to more women than it is men. Okay. So, especially now. So look, at the end of the day, loving yourself, again, as corny as it sounds, is the ultimate way. And how do you do that but increase your 6 pillars? And that's exactly what my long-term mentorship program is all about. Because you're going to be challenged, and you're going to be like, okay. And think of it, fellas, many of you watching this video haven't challenged yourself for real, really, in a long time. School might have been a challenge for you. But when's the last time that you really had to solve a really hard fucking problem that changed your life for good? I'm so proud of myself for A, starting this YouTube channel, but B, starting all my other businesses. And again, so I haven't shot this video. I'm probably going to shoot it tomorrow. I said I was going to shoot it yesterday, but I'm going to shoot a video about how I have become financially free. Okay. And I'm super proud of myself for doing that. Okay. Because it has given me the happiness and the opportunity to do what I want to do every day. Okay. And my last point is if they never reach out, it's better off that way. A lot of people get into relationships because it's the first, coming from a man's perspective, it's the first girl that showed them any kind of attention. Right? If that's you, you don't have to say anything in the comments, but I really want you guys to join the Discord so that we can chop it up and talk. Because so many of the guys that I've coached are stuck behind their computers and going into long distance relationships. They're not taking care of themselves in a visual sense, right? Like they're not trying to look sharp. They're not trying to get haircuts. They're not trying to look good, right? And they think that they can have these computer relationships with people. Or there's a ton of people who are, just using dating apps and not meeting people in person anymore. They're just using the easy button, right? Easy mode. But look what happens, right? I'm sure. And look, this is there are so many relationships that are happening and starting on a daily basis, right? I don't know of many relationships compared to the ones of people that meet in person or through friends of friends or whatever, that stay together. So let's say two people meet on Bumble or Tinder or whatever the fuck. How many of those relationships really stay together? Right? But then it would be 100% better for you to meet women in person. So just cold approaching women, get good at it. I know that's scary. I know that's hard. Or B, surrounding yourself, and do both of these, surrounding yourself with high value people. So as you improve yourself, you're going to start networking with better people, start going to events. Like say you start getting spiritual, for example, you start going to spirituality events and you meet a girl there, right? So start surrounding yourself with higher value people that are aligned with what you like to do, right? Imagine if you had a photography, like a love for photography, let's say, right? And your love for photography led you to a meetup group or some sort of group, and you meet some girl there and you guys totally hit it off because you have the same interests, right? So it's better for you to obviously cold approach and then meet people in the same interests as you. And again, you're not going to be able to do this sitting at home all the time. So that's what I want you guys to focus on. And that's the stuff that you guys need to do. Okay. Look, I understand it's hard. So start with one step, which is go outside. Okay. So, and if you guys want help with this, again, talk to me about the Better Man Project mentorship program. So what we talk about is relationships, money, and attraction. Now, these three things these are usually the three things that men really need to work on. So I have something called Money School. I have something called Better Man Project. That's what this is, obviously. And I teach you these things. If you're interested in them, join the free Discord. It's down below in the description box. If you don't have a Discord, fucking make one. Okay? And if you really don't want to make one, email me and say mentorship questions in the subject line or mentorship question. And usually I'll tell you to text me and I'll give you my number in there. Okay? And then I can discuss these things with you. All right? So, without further ado, work on these things, guys. And I'll have another video shot for my financial freedom, which a lot of people have actually been asking me for. So, done.